Hey y'all, so today back working on this thing finally. Got a couple things I want to do. I want to get my my other driver's side fuel tank cleaned up, get the mud off before it gets too cold to use the water hose outside. Then I'm going to get that nasty bumper off there. I suck at it, but I love it. So I really wasn't planning on taking this off yet, but since I got that other bumper, I'm just going to knock a few of the dings out of it. Just mock it up here. Can't wait to get this off of here, so I'm just going to go ahead and do it. I don't know what this bumper came off of. It originally would have used these holes here for whatever it was on, but it ain't going to be on here no more. See, these are the factory bolt mount locations. And unfortunately, whatever knocked this dent in it busted this inner frame mount factory part, so I have to buy that. But we'll go ahead and get some tools out and take this dude off. All right then, let's make it happen. I'm excited about this. Plug your ears. Okay, and that's a gigantic bolt. That's not a 3/4. Okay. Right. Yep, now we're back to this size. Excuse me. I'll have to take that one out, it's broke. All right, boys and girls. I have been waiting for this. Got me a jammed washer. Gotta go get a hammer. That's a win. Whew. Looks better already. This is that exploded tab. I found a few parts trucks that I probably can get one of these off of. They're not local, but guys are willing to ship, so that's awesome. That's awesome. That's the back side of that thing. Just got these stupid fiberglass plastic ends, whatever they are. That gnarly dent in it. And the rest of my busted off mount. But it's got a date on it, 1989. So if anybody wants this garbage, which is unlikely, holler at me. Otherwise it might just be wall art. This is that ear. Should look like that, but that's a pretty easy part to take off. So it's not going to stop me from test fitting my aluminum one on it. Alright, y'all are going to see how good this looks before I do. Set this dude up on here real loose and take a step back and be happy for a minute. Let's see. Not sure where the spacing of these go. Just leave it offset a little bit. Ugh. Boy, I like that. I like that a lot. That's sharp. I think my brackets are flip-flopped a little bit. It's like the holes aren't perfectly aligned, but man, that looks better. Bumper's not perfect, but it sure is better than this old one. That looks good. That makes me really happy. It's not perfect. It's got some bad spots in it, like right here, corrosion, split. I'm gonna take this bumper to a buddy of mine, probably have him just cut this whole section out, weld a little square in. Same story on this one. Got a little bit of road rash here. It had some kind of a toe strap stuck through there. You see the same mark on this side. I also got the big fog lamps that mount right behind here. They're pretty cool. They got some shutter things, kind of like the radiators got. But wow, I like that. That makes her look a lot better. So this is going to be my driver's side fuel tank. So it's in better shape than the other one is, with the exception of this heater assembly somebody's put on here. So not sure what I'm going to do there. I might retain it, keep it there. Whether functional or not, I don't know. But I definitely will have to replace these bolts, redo that sealant. I thought about just putting a aluminum patch on there and riveting it on there. I don't know. The good news is it's pretty clean on the inside. This is the tank that came off of the the what was it? FLA, I think it was. FLA Freightliner Cabover. Like probably an early 90s model. What does annoy me is though, whoever took this thing off after I bought it, put this big old mark in it. It's kind of aggravating. It was mint, but I think I can rotate it over just far enough. This is how the frame rail mounts flush. This surface right here is the top. So I might can rotate it back just far enough that you can't really see it. But I got to get down in here and drain it. It has probably 10 gallons of fuel roughly in it. So every time I turn it over, fuel comes out. So I need to stop that. I'll be making a mess trying to hang them and killing my grass. But I'm gonna go ahead and clean this up, set up a water hose, and y'all can watch. Drove my truck this morning. She's fun to drive. First order of business is gonna be to get all the dirt out of these holes. Not sure how the sump works. It's got 3 ports. I assume they're all just equal. I looked down in there and didn't see no tubes or anything else like that in there, so I think they're just all low point pickups. This, I think, is a return. Diesel's probably still good. It's pretty clean. I could filter it and run it through my diesel heater in the shop, but probably not. Getting some dirt out of it now. Alright, we're gonna call that good. This tank overall is in better shape than the other one. It's also smaller. It's 10 or 20 gallons less capacity. So a buddy of mine, Lee Drennan from St. Louis area, sent me this and a bunch of other photos of his Transstar that he had back in the mid-90s. It's a gorgeous red truck, similar to what I considered painting mine. He bought the truck from its original owner when it was basically a agricultural farming truck. Guy hauled grain, cattle, dump trailers, about like a whole lot of these Transtars did, being internationals. A lot of the farmers trusted the international brand. Drennan hauled it for, I don't know exactly how long he ran the truck, but he hauled all kinds of loads, flatbeds. There's a couple of pictures in here of him pulling some pretty heavy machinery, and had a good time with the truck and liked it, but had trouble with it. Had some breakdowns, stuff like that, typical old truck stuff. This truck was close to 20 years old back when he was running it. And the company he was leasing it to wasn't giving him enough work, and it was beating him up pretty bad. But he had a sweet machine, and I really appreciate him sending me the photos. He also had a really cool auto car that him and his dad restored, so he's going to get me some photos of that, and I'll go ahead and share them. So maybe some of these trucks that I can post on here, if you send me some information about them, we can get your truck on here and basically fill up some of the more boring video time that I've got recorded, like washing a fuel tank, for example. But anyways, I appreciate Lee sending me these pictures, and it is absolutely a gorgeous truck. Kind of wonder if she's still around, but there's a few more pics of it coming up, so maybe it'll fill some of my boring video space. Yeah, it should be okay. Here in the next photo, we've got what appears to be a clutch replacement, potentially transmission, but clutch would be more common. Doing it the old-fashioned way, back when guys worked on their own trucks, instead of just taking them straight to the shops like tends to be the norm now. Just also shows how easy it was to work on a cabover, or is, I should say. Just jack that cab up and get wide open access to the whole motor. Pull the transmission out, you get right directly above it, and same for the engine. This next picture is cool to me because it's pulling a Burlington Northern Railroad not boxcar, van, I guess you'd call it. I'm a big railroad guy, so that's pretty cool. Burlington Northern Railroad was all over the place up in Illinois, where I was born. So that's a pretty cool picture. In other news, a nice gentleman down in Phoenix named Ed sent me a new fresh air vent to replace the busted one on the front of the truck. Also sent me a shifter assembly with the little box that appears to be in better shape than mine, so I got to clean it up. It's kind of crusty, but I really appreciate that. He sold it to me at a pretty fair price, so I'll show you all that on probably the next video. Just dirty. I'll pull that apart and the shifter assembly and use the best parts from mine and it. And worst case scenario, have to just replace a bushing, but I really appreciate him giving me a good deal on that, so I'll show you that next time. Well, I can say with certainty this looks a lot better than it did. These are going to be just beautiful when they're sanded down, buffed out. This is how it's going to sit on the truck, just how it's sitting here, how it's balanced. So she's going to look good. Imagine that mounted to the side of that. All right, so I rolled this tank over here and kind of set it up on a tire, kind of figure out kind of how my brackets are going to lay out. So what I'm going to try to do is get it where it's up against the frame rail, and I can kind of see what I got gonna have to do to match my hanger brackets with the hanger brackets over there. Those hanger brackets are not where they need to be either. Basically that front one you're looking at is going to move forward about 2 inches, and then I'll match this side. So the basic plan is these holes here are the same spacing, you know, this way as those ones. So my plan is to scoot this bracket far enough forward where this bolt hole and that bolt hole will line up. So that'll kind of give me a baseline to just hang all this stuff off of. So this bracket will come up and set here. Obviously, that's going to necessitate relocating the cab jack, which will be easy. It's got these 2 lines coming to it. It also is going to be necessary to get rid of this. Now, I already had this off when I first got the truck because this whole front edge was rubbing a hole in the front of my tank. So I'll pull this off. All these bolts have already been out, so that shouldn't be no trouble. And I'll permanently relocate this somewhere else. I'll probably pull this bracket off here. I don't know what that was for, but I'll probably put this fuel filter assembly under here. So I'll get set up and I'll pull this bracket off, fuel filter assembly, and I'll pull the cab jack off where I can kind of get my tank slid forward about where I want it to be. The tank itself, the actual bracket I'll probably fool with later, but I just want to get this thing mocked up and see how good she looks and kind of figure out kind of what I'm going to have to do going forward. Alrighty then, so I'm going to pop this off, get it kind of laid down out of the way, don't really need to find a permanent home for it yet. Then, like I said, pull these 3 bolts out, get that thing out of the way. Probably just zip tie it under here for now, but this is not securely mounted anyways, so I'll get busy. I feel like I need to apologize a little bit for the somewhat crappy quality of my videos, especially like when I'm just working on something and there should be music playing or something like that. I've tried to add clips of different music, but it seems like everything on the web is copyright protected. So what happens is, even with like the radio on in the background, like the radio will pick up, or the YouTube bots will pick up like a 10-second clip of some song. When you upload your video, it'll say you're blocked, your video is blocked, and or you're gonna have to pay royalties for the whole entire video, which I'm not even getting royalties for anything I'm doing yet myself. Haven't got 1,000 subscribers, and not that matters a lot, but. And I thought I found a place where you can get just sound clips stuff that, you know, have no words or anything. Not my last video, you may have noticed there was a spot in one of those where it just was silence. Well, I uploaded my video and they hit me with the oh well, you're gonna have to either delete all the audio from that clip for that particular 12 seconds of time or whatever it was, a couple minutes, or you're not gonna be able to post it. It's like, come on. I don't know how, like Twin Sticks, he always has John Anderson and Waylon Jennings playing all the time, which is freaking awesome. Maybe I need to look in to see if either one of them's music is copyright protected. I love both of those dudes. Also like Twin Sticks, but I know nothing about video editing or anything like this, so just bear with me. I should also add, which I think I've said before, that literally everything I'm doing here is shot with my iPhone. I don't know how to do the fancy video editing with the GoPros and stuff like that. I eventually will, but my schedule is so busy. I mean, at the end of the day, I haven't got done what I need to get done, much less have time to try to worry about being a professional video editor. That'll probably come with time, but for now, y'all just have to bear with me. Alright. I'm gonna have a whole lot of new hardware on this truck by the time it's done. Most of the bolts that come off, I ain't putting back on. Don't sound like I took them off. Weather's supposed to start to get colder probably next weekend. So I wanted to get that tank washed and cleaned up. I'm debating on, once I get the tanks, all the airline stuff hooked back up, debating on pulling the air filter and the stack off so that I can, if a real cold weather spell hits, I can pull it in the shop. Hindsight being 2020, when I built my shop, it was for business, you know, but I have 12-foot walls in the shop, and I have about a 2-foot space between the bottom of my roof line and the top of the garage door, the shop door, which is 16 foot wide, I think. But if I had had the foresight, I would have made the garage door 1 panel higher, whatever that works out to, 18, 20 inches, 24, and I probably would have been able to just drive this right in, but that's the way it is. Can't win every battle. Okay, so I think I'll just zip tie this dude up in here, just for temporary. I really don't want to drain all the stuff out of it. It's got a little fuel in it. Excuse me. Okay, you rig up my zip ties. I got them over here somewhere, I think. Let me find them. Okay, I found them. I did not have them out here. Also, I should add, when I started the channel, it was kind of not necessarily focused on one particular thing. Basically, it was just for the purpose of me just, you know, setting up a camera and just showing y'all what I do, you know. As far as having YouTube channels, your common way to do it is just find out what your niche market is, you know, and just go after that. But that would be like specializing in just big trucks or hot rods or painting or whatever. But I mean, the goal of my channel was to show everybody, you know, just share what I'm doing, whether it's changing a water pump on or running across some problem on some random newer vehicle, or paint work, or working on a semi. And so I'm kind of not doing it the way that you're technically supposed to. I should just, by far the Cabover stuff has been the most popular, but I just like a bunch of stuff. So if you're not into cars or paint and body or mechanic work in general, try not to get too mad at me. Just what I'm into and what I like. So if it's not something you're interested in, just wait a few minutes and something you will be interested in will come around. So I really enjoy working on a lot of different things. So my goal when I started my restoration career, before it was full-time, was to save as many classic vehicles from the scrapyard, you know, keep this mechanicking machine tradition going for decades, because there's just been a pretty huge loss of talent and skills as the older guys have aged out of the hobby or passed on, you know. Like, for example, how many Model A's you see running around anymore, and it's kind of just a progression of losing skill and talent, and that's why I'm into so many things. It's like, I love vintage tractors and trains and planes, and I've worked on just about everything. Haven't really done no train work, but shoot, I love it all, you know. And if nobody's learning how to work on it, then it's all going to be museum stuff for long. But anyways, I got these off. I'm going to go ahead and wrestle that tank into the hole here, and bring you back in a minute. All right then, what do you think of that? Tell you what I think of that. I think it's spectacular. Just really makes me happy here, seeing it kind of come into fruition, kind of what I've wanted to build here. So all that's left to figure out is where I want these to go, where they're even across. As you can see, these are not. Like I also said, these tanks are a little bit different length. This one over here is longer, and this one over here obviously shorter. What I got to do is match the backs of them. Like, this tank closest to me needs to move backwards about 2 inches, 2.5 inches, and the other one needs to go forward maybe a half to get them squared up. And based on that, I can figure out where to put these, where neither side will look dumb. So I'm thinking this is where the original tank mounted, here and here. So I might be able to move this one back basically about 2 inches to utilize the factory back holes for the old tank straps. or tank mounts, and then potentially move these ones forward to basically to match to about right here. So they'd come up probably 6 inches to utilize those 2 holes. The front, I think I can maybe do what I had originally planned and slide this forward to catch those back 2 holes there on these 2 front holes, and then match it on the other side. But that's kind of my goal. But the cab jack's not going to be right there in the way. Try to figure out a better place for that. But I really like kind of the underslung look. Well, we'll do a walk around real quick of the truck, kind of give you an overall view of how it's coming. Back here on the back, I think I'm gonna build some straight hangers and put some international mud flaps. Not a huge fan of these spring-loaded, crooked, bouncy mud flaps. I think it'd look better with, a straight bar. Probably just build it myself so that I can utilize these factory hanger bars. Just build a simple square tube steel type deal. But anyways, so it'll have, at least for now, brand new fresh painted white wheels on the back, polished tank, polish the air intake stack if possible, polished front wheels. Man, I love that bumper. Fall more in love with this truck every time I come outside. That tank sure looks better than that beat up piece of junk before. I'll go ahead and drop a picture of it just so you can see how bad it looked, which you already know if you've watched my other videos. Man, she looks good. That's my opinion. But as usual, I appreciate you watching.